Bingo Blitz rules.
If your bingo has ads in it,
That's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope, not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Discover a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
Being a marketer's no sweat. You just have to manage dozens of channels, launch hundreds of campaigns, score thousands of leads, and okay, fine, it's a lot of sweat. Unless you have HubSpot's AI-powered marketing tools to help you do all that and more. Get started at HubSpot.com/marketers.
With something like 5 million podcasts, finding a really good one can take a ton of time. So let me recommend one. It's called Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and in each episode, we discuss topics that can be really helpful, like how to read people better, the psychology of crowds, or fun things like the story of Legos, or why you probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for horses. Something You Should Know is the name of it, wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Don't Blame Me. If you're watching on Patreon, you might have caught the tail end of my yawn.
Yawn.
My name's Megan. I'm joined by the one, the only. Dun, 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 dun. Can you hear it?
Barely. Mott's.
I thought you said Mott's, and I was like, no, your name's Melissa.
Yeah, it is. But my last name is Mott's.
Yep. Pew, 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 pew. Pew, 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 pew.
Okay, I'm awake now.
She's awake. We're awake. We're powering through. You've been like working
I've
nonstop.
been working, but also not sleeping well.
I find that there is like a sweet spot of the amount of work that tires me out after the day that like I feel accomplished and I can go to sleep and that my mind isn't wandering, or there's too little work and then my mind is wandering and being like creating things. But then there's so much work that like I didn't accomplish everything I wanted to do and I'm thinking of all the things I have to do. There's a very small sweet spot of like the perfect amount, and you've been working so much that I cannot imagine you're there.
Yeah, I've been working so much, but I've also been just like waking up for no reason around like 5 or 6. It'll take me a long time to fall asleep and then waking up around 5 or 6 and then being up for like an hour, then being able to fall back asleep. And it's just been not fun. I don't feel well rested at all.
Weirdly, that's exactly what I've been doing. Like I'm having a hard time falling asleep, waking up a couple times in the night, but like nothing major, but then waking up really fucking early in the morning, being up for an hour, 30 minutes, falling back asleep and then waking up and being like, what year is it? And I feel horrible.
Yeah.
Wonder what that is.
I don't know. But I forgot we have those teas, so I should be drinking those.
That is smart. I should be doing that as well.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to Don't Blame Me. We're an advice podcast where we give wonderful, life-changing, amazing, the best advice you've ever heard. And if you're brand new here, welcome. Hello. We give the advice we'd like to see in the world. We give advice like we would give our friends. We are honest. It comes from a place of love, and we are very straightforward. We're not really sugar-coaty kind of people. That is an adjective now. And we're here to help. And or that could be tough love if it needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes there's a quote, but I can't remember what it is.
Just make one up.
Sometimes to get to the finish line, someone needs to kick you in the balls.
Okay. Thank you.
I am a philosopher. That was my stone.
Good one.
Thank you. So what's new with you? What's up? How you been?
I started watching Inventing Anna. Enjoying it a lot.
You like it?
Mm-hmm. Have you watched it?
No, I should. I should watch it. I feel like when shows like blow up and they're not that I'm like, oh, I can't like anything popular, but I feel like I've watched it already just based on the amount of content I've seen about it. So give me like a month and then I'll be like, I gotta watch this.
That's how I felt. I mean, it's been a month since it came out, so I felt the same way. But then I thought Shonda was just producing it, but she wrote it. she wrote it too. So
I'm
it
down.
changes things. Yeah.
Oh, that changes
Yeah.
absolutely everything.
Yeah. I think of it like the tone wise, it feels more like a fun scandal.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, you've sold
And
me.
it's scamming men until she doesn't, which is where I feel like she fucked up. So
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, did she girl boss a little too close to the sun?
yeah, she
Yes.
definitely did.
But
It's when she started scamming her friends that she messed up, because all the men that, according to the TV show, I haven't read enough of the actual stuff that happened, but all the men that she were scamming, nothing happened to them. Like they're still like have money.
Yeah.
They're still, and so most of the things that they've done is not,
Yeah.
crystal clear, but she messed up when she scammed her friends.
Yeah, because doesn't she scam like friends who like don't have that much? Yeah. So that's where the issue comes in.
So I haven't I got to one of her friends, which she actually is the only friend that she actually paid back. And they're still friends now. So that is, I like it. And I'm kind of rooting for them. But again, I'm rooting for the TV version. I don't know what she's done in real life.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, how I feel about this versus like that sucky thing to do. That's kind of like fucking over your friend on like just a much higher financial level. Then the Elizabeth Holmes one, I'm like, okay, you gave a lot of like false hope to people.
And medical, like it messed up. She wasn't doing anything that messed up with anybody's livelihood except for when she messed with her friends.
Yeah,
so.
like when you steal money from rich people under the guise of like medical invention and marvel, that's not a Robin Hood story I can get behind. But I will say it is nice to have more representation of women scamming in media.
Right.
It's representation.
Right now feels like the time for women scammers in media. This is the time.
And I'm just happy we've finally gotten here, because like we know that we've been in the shadows through all of history. Women have been scamming left, right, and center, while men have been going off to wars. Like we've been doing this, and we had Firefest. We had the Tinder swindler.
She actually like stays with the Firefest guy while he's like getting money, and she tells him that he's stupid. She's like, that's a dumb idea.
And here's the thing about these women scammers. They're better.
Yeah, she's great. Like the things that she did at the tender age of like 23 to 25, brilliant. Like if she used her power for good, she could take over the world.
And women do it with pizzazz. They do it with flair, and they do it in an aspirational way. Yeah. Like I don't want to scam, but like you're like Fire Festival guy, I'm like, I have secondhand embarrassment for you. For these women, I'm like, you scare me and my nipples are hard. Yeah. Like you're kind of like, wow.
Impressive.
It's impressive. And you personally know what scamming story I want to tell and star in so desperately.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should speak it out into the universe, but I told you that I think I need to like befriend this person so I can do it. Don't we kind of look alike?
Yeah.
I'm looking at myself right now and I'm like, in the words of Katya and Trixie, who would play her? Me. I would play her.
Speak it into the universe.
Okay, everybody. I desperately want to do an adaptation of Caroline Calloway's pending book, and I want to play Caroline Calloway. It is the role that I was born to play. I watch her Instagram stories, and I'm like, yes, thespian. Like, I make mods watch them all the time. I'm like, tell me this would not be perfect. Like, I just want it. I just want it. I just want it so badly. And I feel like a lot of people hate when scammers, and especially like the influence kind of scammers, get said attention. But like, don't you want the hands of that story in somebody who has experience in the space? Like, come on.
Right.
I would die for it. Also because like, I was like that Tumblr culture of that, like the whole vibe. Like I lived those eras, not as her, but I lived through those eras. And so it just feels personal. She's writing the book now. It's literally called like The Scam or something.
Should get in now.
I know. I wonder if someone's already done it. I should ask our manager. Spoken into the universe. Okay, we give advice on this show. So if you want to call in for an upcoming episode, you can leave us a voicemail at 310-694-0976. And international listeners, you can send us an audio message at
meghanpodcast@gmail.com.
There we go. My brain short-circuited. And we ask, or we require, we demand, we enforce that you keep it under 3 minutes or you will be cut off. And the best way to do this is to write down what you're going to say. Time yourself, practice, make sure you have all the information, your ages. It's all anonymous, but like all of the right, correct, and relevant information, because the more information we have, relevant information we have, the better advice we can give. So write it down, practice, and then just read it out loud. And if you excel, you can get a diamond. And yeah, let us know your pronouns, 18 or over, have your parents' permission. And I think that's it, right?
That is it.
We do not have an update today.
Yeah, we had one scheduled, but they had another pressing appointment to go to.
And we're okay. We're not mad at them. We're happy for them. But we don't have an update.
Yep.
So...
yeah, they just canceled on us 50 minutes ago.
It's fine. It's fine. We're not mad. I'm not. I understand.
Yeah.
I'm not. We keep saying we're actually not, and I know it sounds like we are.
No, we're actually not mad. What they had to go to was important.
Yeah. I don't know. It just sounds like we are because we keep defending.
I'm not mad. We're not mad.
I just know that they're freaking out, being like, "Oh my god, they're mad! Oh my god, they're mad!" We're not. We're really like we're truly.
We're really not mad. We're not mad.
We're not mad. We're really not mad at all. Do we have anything else we should talk about, or should we get into the calls?
I think we're good. Let's just go ahead and jump in.
Woo!
Hi, Meghan and Melissa. So I am 21 years old, and I use she, her pronouns. And I just turned 21 in the past few months. And even if not, I'm still 21, just like freshly of age to drink legally and by Delta 8 in my state. But my question is, how do I balance my school life and my social life, especially considering that I don't have a job and I am a full-time student, when one of my close friends here, and the only girl I hang out with, only ever wants to go out? Today is St. Patrick's Day, and she's really upset with me because I won't go to the bars with her. I personally don't like to go to the bars because they're too crowded. I don't have any money because I don't have a job, and I want to prioritize my schoolwork because I am a junior in college, and I'm taking my junior seminar right now, or one of them, because I am a triple major. And so what's your advice on how to maintain a friendship when she, has this full-time job, is getting paid a lot of money under the table, and I just am not in the same boat as her, and we just have different priorities. Yep, that's all. I guess I have a lot of time left, so I'm a Sagittarius sun, a Virgo moon, and a Scorpio rising, and she, her pronouns for my friend, is a Cancer sun. And I think it's Aries moon and Capricorn right. Thanks so much. Love the podcast. Love everything that you guys do. All right. Bye.
I have no idea what any of that means. I think that I don't know how much I could reiterate to everybody that I am a Leo. So my love of astrology is about talking about myself. But when it comes to two people's interpersonal dynamics, I really don't fucking know. Unless I have a friend.
That's what I was going to say. When it's a friend that has similar ones that compare to yours.
Yeah, but other than that, I'm I really don't know. Really don't know. I don't know. I feel like I have a kind of a hard truth with this one.
I do too. My hard truth is a friend should understand your boundaries. And if you haven't set them, if you haven't told them, if you haven't said, hey, I'm in school full time, I'm trying to focus on my schoolwork, and say pretty much everything you told us in the call, and then she doesn't respect that, then that means she's not really your friend. She just needs someone to go out with her. A real friend would understand that I'm in school, not making money the way that you are. I'm not going to be mad at you if you can't go out for St. Patrick's Day. And I know you said that she's your only friend, but you're in college, and I think that's a great way to work on, meeting new people and finding friends by joining clubs or studying with people in your class and so forth.
Yeah, I fully agree. I think college is the time where like your friend group is dictated based on your common interests and like those things that you do. So like when you have like very different ways of spending free time, those people you're not actually usually friends with in college. And so I think that we need to coin a new term. So we talk about situationships with like romantic relationships that aren't like actually relationships, but they can, take the same amount of like time, energy, and like leave the same like lasting effects if they don't work out. I think we need a term for friendships, which is like a circumstance-ish.
Yeah.
Like this is a circumstance related friendship because she wants you to do what she wants to do. She wants you to fit in and do the things that she chooses to do in her life. That's not a friendship. Exactly like you're saying. Like that is like having someone that you want to do this thing, not because you want them to be there, because you want to do that thing. And I just like can't even imagine not factoring in. And I don't mean this in like a way that like I think about my friends' financial situations, but like I do. Like I can't imagine not thinking about the fact that like my friend doesn't have a job. They're a full-time student and I'm asking them to come spend money. What? Like that's so out of touch.
Unaware.
Weird to me.
And choosing to be that way.
That's what I mean. Like you can have that thought in your head and then you like, I would automatically be like, oh, they, or like if I have a friend who's like in between jobs or I know has like just spent a lot of money doing something or I know like money is tight. Like when I want to spend time with them and hang out with them, like, and I don't do this in like a pitying way or whatever, but like I also hate spending money, but like, I'm like, hey, like, let me come over, like, let's hang out. And like, it's not like I'm pitying and being like, oh, I'll buy you dinner. I'll do this, this, and this. But like, I know that there are other social and work obligations in their life that force them to like spend money and do all that stuff. And like, that's not the kind that I'm not going to be another thing that you have to spend money to spend time with or like have that with. And like, so I think that like what you're trying to do is you're trying to balance something that you don't need to balance at all. Like this isn't a thing that you need to learn how, like this is her problem. And like the fact that like this is not really a friendship. And if someone can't understand that, see that and respect that, like you don't need to learn how to like budget and maintain a friendship with somebody who only wants to do stuff that's expensive.
Yeah.
And we know how I feel about St. Patrick's.
It's your people.
It is. It is my people. I can't get into it. People were so mad. No, Irish Americans were so mad. The Irish from Ireland were like, yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I've just never heard you talk about your Irish heritage before. And then you did 23andMe and you found out. That's like me being like, I don't know. I can't get into it anymore. But also, to be fair, my Irish Catholic grandparents, who are both dead, are like putting curses on me right now. Being like, you ungrateful little bitch. Did I tell you that someone commented and they were like, we do all of this because of the potato famine. And I was like, I'm sorry, I don't know her. And then she was like, well, you should really educate yourself on your people. And I responded, I was like, I'm being sarcastic. I know what the potato famine is. What? Someone else also tried to compare it to Cinco de Mayo. I go, wrong. Whoa.
Yeah, we talked about it last time.
Yeah. Yikes. Yikes. Also, you're supposed to be done with this shit by junior year. All the upperclassmen, I never saw them fucking go out until they were like done with their finals every year.
If she's working full time, it doesn't feel like she's in school anymore.
No, I know, but just like if I was working full time, I would know once my friends are like, you have to hang out with like freshmen who are like rage. Yeah. But like you're doing your like course credits.
We were still going hard.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. All the juniors and seniors when I was in college, like they were like, until it was like finals or summer, but like they never went out.
But also I came in with a lot of credits from high school. So like my senior year, I used to call it union studies when I used to just go sit in the student union and stare at people because I didn't want to be done with school. And that's when I took golf and piano and gymnastics and,
When did you start taking courses like for your major?
In my second semester of my freshman year, but that was technically my sophomore year.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Because that's, I think, part of the thing is like, I also went to a state school for a hot second, and it's notoriously impossible to get all of your prereqs like early. So yeah, most people didn't take courses for their major until junior year.
Yeah, I already came in with my English, my science, like the base science that I needed, my math. Like I came in with a lot of credits already.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. That's impressive.
All right. Next call.
Hello, Meghan and Melisa. I'm 19 years old and my pronouns are she, her. My aunt called me and told me I was stealing from my 16-year-old cousin. Backstory. Recently, my younger cousin asked to join my gym membership. I went to the gym and signed her up. At the end of the process, I asked how much money a month would be charged on my card. The manager told me $110. I split that in half and told my cousin that's how much it would be a month. January rolls around and my charge is way higher than normal. I called the gym to ask why, and they said it's an annual fee I must pay as a member only once a year. I again sent my cousin a voice recording explaining how I talked to the gym, and they told me it was an annual fee and split the entire charge down the middle. My aunt on the phone said she went to the gym to get a membership for herself, and in the process found out I was overcharging my cousin by $9. She told me that a student is 45, and I knew that and was taking advantage of my cousin. I told her I didn't know she was 45. I simply see the entire bill on my end and just split it. She said I also charged a $30 yearly account fee after 1 month, but the gym doesn't do that until 3. I sent her my bank statements and showed her that the fee was taken from my account. I explained how I called the gym and what they told me. She said, "Funny, but my friend works at the gym and we pulled up your statements and saw everything." She kept telling me that I knew what I was doing and said I took advantage of her and that I'm just mad I got caught. And the conversation got super heated because she would not believe what I was saying. She was talking in a calm yet deceitful way. I was bawling my eyes out the whole time trying to explain myself, sending her text messages of like my bank statements, like as we're on the phone. And she goes, "You can cry all you want." And when I heard that, that was my last straw. And I said, "I'm never effing talking to you again." And I hung up. I know I shouldn't have said those last words to her, but I couldn't comprehend how she would be so delusional to think any of this. It especially caught me off guard coming from my aunt, a family member. She was like a stranger on the phone. I had no idea she had this evil side. I sent my cousin back the total amount she paid at the gym, which is almost $200. To show my aunt I don't care about the money. Context, it's not my mom's sister. My aunt is married to my mom's brother. Am I wrong for splitting it down the middle? How am I supposed to know she was 45 and I was 65? I just knew the total and split it. Also, splitting it, we both got a discount. Alone, I was paying 65. So together, we both paid 54. It made sense in my head. We both got a discount. Do I need to call her back and apologize for cursing at her? Should I talk to her again now that I've processed it and could be more calm with all my printed bank statements and try to explain myself, like without crying, to resolve it? Or am I wasting my time? I have all these bank statements lined up with what I had her Venmo and with what they were charged. Like I did not steal anything from her. Yet I was trying to keep the family peace by sending her back all the money. So I don't know what to do. Our families aren't talking anymore. It's a huge thing going on in proportion. I don't know how to fix it.
I like your fire.
Me fucking too. Your mom's brother needs to divorce this woman. That's the only solution. What does your cousin think?
Yeah, I'm thinking because your cousin is 16, then there's like a kid price and then an adult price.
Student discount, I think, is what it was.
But either way, it's still because you're on a family plan, then you're both paying less than you would have been paying individually.
But like, first of all, and I don't mean this in a mean way at all, you're still a kid. Like, you are just as much a kid as your cousin is. And like, the idea that like your aunt is talking to you like you are like a full grown adult taking advantage of your kid cousin when like she is a full grown adult yelling at you, her kid niece, like, you guys are 3 years apart. Like, that's not that much. Like, you're both really young. And if your cousin wanted a gym membership, she can go get a gym membership. Like, you were the one who did the work.
Yeah, your aunt should have went and got it for her or whatever. But like, I'm guessing she's saying like, if you had the statement, not your bank statement, but the actual statement invoice from the gym, then you should have known better. But again, they're confusing, and that's something that, and they get you with that annual fee, but that's something that your cousin should have been like, if she's on your account too, then she should have been getting the invoices, I would think, or have access to them. But and then the fact that your aunt's friend pulled up your account, that's an invasion. That's like against the law, and shared it with her. Like,
I kind of don't believe it.
I don't believe it either, but she can't do that. Even if she did, it actually happened, she can't do that. So I'd be like, what friend? Let me know who the friend was. You want me to go tell your friend tell their boss that they pulled up my account?
Is your cousin mad at you? Like, Probably is this not coming through her? Because I kind of think not. And this part of me makes me wonder, is your aunt mad at your mom? Is your aunt mad at her husband? Like, is this this to me seems thing that's like so widely blown way out of proportion. Because also, here's the thing. I, again, don't mean this in a mean way at all. But like, if I have ADHD, I'm not good with numbers. I'm not good with a lot of shit in general. When I delegate tasks or things to be done by other people because they're not something that is either of interest of me or like within my bandwidth, I know that there's always going to be a risk that I'm paying like a little bit more. And I relinquish that risk. I'm okay. I acknowledge that. And like, that is fine. I also personally believe, again, as somebody who like, I'm not good at a lot of like adult maintenance kind of things. I will pay a $9 service charge for somebody else to get me to do like, if like someone's going to facilitate all of this shit, like, and I think if you were going to have like the liability on your account, if you're going to do all of that stuff, even if you wanted to charge her $10 more, like, okay. But like, as the parent, if you are upset, you should be upset with your kid for not paying attention to the statements. Like, that's the teachable moment here. Yeah. Is not like yelling at your fucking niece that which again, like, this isn't you scamming her. Like, why? And if her mind is automatically going there, this to me is like a bigger issue. Yeah. Yeah, you do not need to apologize at all. Like,
unless you just want to keep the peace in your family. But my stubbornness, I wouldn't apologize. She's the adult in the situation, and you gave the money back.
That's what I was going to say. And also, if you said your families aren't speaking, to me, that is like your guardians, the adults in your life, your immediate ones at home with you are like, she was out of line. Like, they're not, you know what I mean? So like, I think that like, this is a her fucking issue, and what you've already done should have been enough. There's nothing else you can do that will be enough. So like, relinquish that feeling, that responsibility off your plate, because like, the idea that you might have of like, well, if you apologize, it'll make it right or whatever. Like, no, you've already done all of the steps to make it right. And if that hasn't worked now, there's nothing you can do that can make it work. Like, she wants you to be the villain. She's mad at you, and that's on her. And I think it's probably for a far different reason. And if you're like, let's say it's your mom, if your mom's not speaking to her, it kind of makes me feel that fueled theory that this is actually not about you and your cousin, that this is about her and potentially your mom.
Yeah. So maybe have a conversation with your mom and see where she stands.
And even just tell her that you feel really bad. And even your mom can just be like, oh my God, don't feel bad. Like, you did, like, you're totally fine. Because when an adult comes at you and like basically accuses you of like doing something, like, that's like a traumatic fucking thing. And like, can make you feel, especially when someone you know well, can make you feel like you're a really bad person. And like, there's no shame in like reaching out to another adult in your life and being like, can I just have some reassurance and having that? Because you need that. She's wild. I feel like the cousin's just like, oh, it's okay. Like, what?
Yeah. All right. Let's take a break.
Woo! And we are back.
Ooh.
Woo.
That was woo backwards.
What?
Ooh.
Woo. Woo. I can't do it. Can you just see the blankness in my eyes being like, nah?
Yep.
Okay.
Anyway.
On to the next call.
Hi, Meghan and Melisa. I love the podcast so much. I've been listening for years, and unfortunately now it's my time to need some advice. My boyfriend of 2.5 years and I broke up 2 months ago. We were doing long distance, but I was about to come back home. We were planning on moving in together then, and I think he felt pressured. We weren't fighting or anything, but our sex life just got really uninspiring. We weren't horny for each other anymore, basically. But then he was really shitty to me in the way he dealt with things. He broke up with me over the phone from the street and a bunch of other things. Honestly, I could talk for hours if I got into this, but the important thing to mention is that all of my friends hate him now. So I've been working on getting over him and understanding that I deserve better, but well, I've been sleeping around and spending a lot of time with my friends, and it's been nice. But last week, we decided to see each other to catch up because we still want to be friends. And I really, honestly thought it could work. But then we just had the best time together and nothing happened. Like, we didn't even kiss, but we had just a really fun night. And I don't know. I think I had forgotten how it felt. And now I'm super confused and I'm suffering all over again. The thing is, I want to be with him. We're so good together. I've never met a couple that has a dynamic as great as ours. I think he's the love of my life. And I keep thinking maybe if we slept together now, after this time apart and having slept with other people, maybe everything would be different. So I can't really make sense of our breakup anymore. But I'm also scared of having this conversation with him and maybe losing him forever. So yeah, I'm basically losing my mind over this. I don't see how I can get emotionally involved with anybody else, knowing this is how I feel about him. So yeah, what should I do? Any advice would be really great. Yeah. Thank you for listening. Bye.
This makes me sad.
Yeah. Well, you said that things were bad, like they weren't good, and there were a whole list of things that you could keep naming. So how is it that you are perfect for each other and you think that he's the love of your life when he did a lot of terrible things to you? I think at this point you're just lonely and you're just remembering the good things as opposed to the bad. So maybe write down if all those negative things and thoughts you said there was a list, make a list, and maybe just take some time. I know you said you're sleeping around a lot, but maybe just take some time for yourself and discover what you actually want out of a relationship. And don't meet up with him again at all.
Yeah, I'm with you on all of that. I think right now what it sounds like you're doing is you're sleeping around because you're trying to find something better than him.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not over him. And so that is not, you're not putting yourself in situations and sleeping with, it doesn't seem like you're enjoying this and it's anything good is coming from sleeping with other people, but that doesn't mean that the solution is to sleep with him. And exactly like Melissa said, you literally started with I could go on for hours about all of the stuff. But right now it feels like the only thing that's remained for you is what is on the marquee as the issue was sex. But having a relationship and then having your sex life go not work out well, taking out medical things, but this was you had issues in your relationship. That's what caused the sex issues. Sex didn't cause the relationship issues. Sex is a reflection of the health of your relationship. That is not a go ahead for getting with it toxic dick because you have great sex. But when you're in a relationship, when the sex gets bad after it's been really great, it's because there are issues in the relationship, and sleeping with him is not going to fix that. And I know you said you want to be friends with him, but you can't be friends with someone who you're not over. Like, you can't replace a relationship with a friendship. A friendship comes after that relationship. You're completely moved on and you're totally over it. And this might not be the easiest thing to hear, but the vast majority of time of people I know who catch up with their recently broken up with partners, like who they've recently broken up with, it's because one party wants to sleep with the other one and casually and not get back together. And like, that is a really tough place to be in because you've been in a committed relationship. So it feels like if you get intimate with this person, like there's a commitment that's attached to it, but there's not at all. And sleeping with him doesn't solve that he hurt you and he really broke your heart. And you're even said you're scared to talk to him about this because you're scared you're going to lose him.
Lose him.
Yeah. And I think the thing is like, I think that like you're attaching a lot of meaning to this. And like, you're seeing this like, oh, well, this could be us getting back together and all this potential. And like, he hasn't said that. Like, he hasn't given you that impression. Like, this is something that you want. And if you're feeling like this is so delicate and so fragile, that's not it. This is not it. This is not right. And like, if you haven't given yourself time to get over him, and clearly the sleeping around actually hasn't helped you get over him, like, you need to take the time to actually get over him. No contact whatsoever. And like Melissa said, write down all the fucking horrible things you hate about him. Talk to your friends about it. Like, remind me how much he sucks. And then just know that every time you talk to him, every time you reach out, like, you're starting from scratch all over again. And that's a really exhausting and lengthy process. And every breakup feels like, I don't know how I'm ever going to feel about this person ever again. Like, I don't know how I'm going to, like, everything will pale in comparison when you are completely still in love with that person. Like, you need to get over this, get over him before you start worrying about future relationships or even thinking about future relationships. Like, the greatest person could come along who is like leaps and bounds better than him. And like, you'll have like the greatest life together. And like, it's a perfect fairy tale ending, but it's not going to work out until you get over him. Like, it just won't. Like, nobody is going to be better than him when you have this romanticized idea of him in your head. And this sucks. This very much sucks. And you just need to remind yourself that like, he is that same person who did all that shit. But I'm sorry. It sucks. Heartbreak hurts.
Next call.
Hi, Meghan and Melissa. I'm a 20-year-old with she, her pronouns, and my boyfriend in the story has he, him pronouns. I'm really in need of some advice for this really difficult situation I'm currently going through in my head about breaking up with my boyfriend. Some background is we met in college, so we've known each other for about 3 years overall, and we have been dating for a year and a half. We have raised a puppy together and moved in together July of 2021. Our relationship has been amazing, but lately, compared to the beginning, I've noticed that I really overall have just been unhappy in the relationship. I'm a very clean person, so most of the time I feel like I'm his mother in the sense that I'm always cleaning up after him, cleaning our apartment, doing laundry, stuff like that. A lot of our views aren't similar in the sense of political stuff, and that worries me when I think about raising kids in the future. My mom is pretty liberal and my dad is a Republican, and I already fight with my dad enough about this stuff, and I hate to think about having a husband that I have to argue with too. I found that he's not really good with his money. He has no savings and makes more than me, but somehow spends over what I do monthly, even though we split the rent and bills. These are just a few of the things that come to mind, in which I've had a conversation with him about all of them, but nothing really seems to change. I'm going to Italy for 2 months in the summer, and he's moving to the Bay, so we'd be doing long distance when I get back from Italy. Lately, I've just been thinking about breaking up with him just to work on myself and figure out what exactly I want in a partner and get into therapy. And of course, I can't say that being single in Italy wouldn't be more fun. The problem is I have no idea when to have this conversation with him about us spending time apart or breaking up. Our lease for our apartment doesn't end until June 30th, so we wouldn't move away from each other until July, and then I leave for Italy right after. I feel like an awful person in thinking that I'm going to blindside him with this conversation right before I leave for Italy, and that he's going to think that I just want to fuck around in Italy, which is not really what I want. However, I have no idea when else I would have this conversation, as I feel like if I did it now while we share a lease, it would make everything 10 times more complicated. We both can't afford to live alone and don't have any other options for living situations because it's in the middle of the year and we both have jobs here. I need some guys on when you guys think I should have this conversation. I still love and care about him so much, and I really don't want to end this on bad terms, but I don't feel like having this conversation now would be good either. I really don't know. Any help appreciated. Bye.
He sounds horrible.
Awful.
He sounds awful.
I don't know how you stayed this long.
Because her dad's a Republican.
Oh, that's true.
And I don't mean that in a shady way,
You
like
mean,
at
like,
all.
You give
like,
allowances because you've dealt with it before.
Yeah. And like you have a higher threshold and bandwidth of dealing with people with different, like I don't have that. And like I will say that like that's not a good trait of mine. Like that's not like an aspirational trait, but it's just I wasn't raised with that. So you were. So like that's why you're with him. Or you've been able to stay with him for so long. This is a 1,000-time PSA of us saying, beyond not living with friends in college, don't move in with your partner in college. Yeah.
Everybody that I've known that's gone to Italy that was with a partner and didn't go with their partner have cheated on their partner. And I'm not saying that's not what you are going to do because you're going to break up with him before you go anyway. But every single person that I know has cheated.
So I've got questions for you. Who's on the lease? Is it your responsibility to move out? Is it his responsibility to? Are you going to be kicked? Are you not going to have a place to live? That's he
what
not?
She said. She said neither one of them have options for other places to live.
But I'm wondering who's on the lease because like
they might both be on it.
Yeah. So if you're both on it and neither of you have any other place to live, then awkwardness won't kill you.
Yep. Someone take the living room. Someone take the bedroom.
Yeah. I don't know how I can stress it. I have to deal with, I have to remind myself at this time, awkwardness won't kill me. And like, it won't. And thinking that you are preventing awkwardness by like going around the massive fucking boulder, no, hella fucking awkward. Like it's going to be awkward regardless. And it is so much more hurtful if you like continue to have sex with him, continue to all of that kind of stuff. And then when you like, he's going to know.
Yeah, you've already said in your mind that you're breaking up with him to continue to carry this along. Like, it's cruel, to be honest. Like, he's an asshole, but like, you already know that you're breaking up with him. So I feel like when I first moved here to LA, like 10 years ago, most of the people I met were living with their exes because they were locked into a lease. Because in LA, people move in with each other very quick because rent is high. And so many people were locked into a lease with their exes and they were just sharing an apartment and dating other people.
I can't stress to you how common it is. Like, it is legitimately like, it's like, oh, you have a roommate, random, or is it your ex? Like, It's truly so common. And like, you are doing both of you a disservice. And if you don't end it now, and like it will be awkward for a bit, but like you've got school, hang out with your friends, like really treat it like you have a roommate that you're like trying to avoid. And like you can come at it from like a kind place. But I honestly think that like breaking up with someone while you're still on a lease together and you live together, to me, that is like a level of like, I respect you. Not that I think that you should maybe. Do I necessarily respect him? No. But like you clearly do. Exactly. But like, I think that is such a huge act of respect of being like, we live together. I have faith in both of us as mature adults that like, I'm not going to string you along and like do this out of obligation. Like there's nothing more like, gut punch than knowing or feeling like someone is with you out of obligation or convenience. And so being like, hey, you know, this has been great. I don't really think this is like gonna work out. And I know it's awkward because we live together. And like and again, this is assuming you're both on the lease and you both have equal rights to it. And just be like, I know that it's gonna take some adjusting to like being roommates. And like inevitably, like, I mean, eventually down the road, I'd love to like maintain a friendship, but I'm not gonna push that at all now. And so like, we're going to be living together and I'm going to do everything I can to like make sure that like we're civil. And I hope that like you can do the same. And I'm appreciative of the time that we had together. And I just didn't want to disrespect you by like continuing this on when my heart really wasn't in it anymore. And that's all you have to do.
Yep.
And if like breakups in this sense, you don't have to like defend yourself against like, I don't know, this might be an unpopular opinion. But like we talk about this all the time when it comes like ending friendships or whatever, that like this isn't necessarily an invitation for a conversation. Like I'm ending it and you don't need to respond. I don't need to respond. And like this can be like a standalone thing. But in breakups as well, I think that like how you go about breakups is like you shouldn't feel the need to defend your choice in why you're breaking up with someone. And so that's the thing that I would just be cautious of, that like maybe the day you break up with him, once you're done having that conversation, or you let him know that like you have you're going out that night to like go do something. So there's like so you don't get sucked in that to like 18 fucking hour conversation on the couch, like rehashing everything, you know?
Yep.
Because people grow apart, and it's just hard to, sometimes that happens when you live together.
Yep. It happens. And I think you're going to have a blast in Italy.
Truly. Back of a moped. Paolo, sing to me, Paolo. I can't wait for you to do this. This is like...
I got 2 marriage invitations when I was in Italy, and they were really hot, but also like, no.
Older? Probably pretty old.
They were around my age. One man owned a leather store.
Okay, make me a tote daddy. Give me some loafers. That's hot.
But also red flags everywhere. No.
Oh, no, totally. But it's flattering. It's like, it's like when I was on Raya, but like in real life, people are like, you're really hot. And you're like, thanks.
Yeah.
And then you do nothing with it except just like drink in the compliment.
Yeah. The one that owned the leather store caressed my face and looked deep into my eyes.
Okay, so that would be a hard pass from me on that one.
It was a hard pass, but he was very, very hot.
Here's the thing. If you're going to give me an unsolicited marriage proposal, I don't want any physical contact in general, but like, please, at least be hot.
Yeah.
You know? Because it's like, it's only cool when women are delusional.
I was also with my mother.
But was your mom like...
Yes.
Yep. Oh, that's so funny. Have you seen that TikTok trend about being like, fuck manifestation, be delusional?
Yes. Everyone that's kind of a thing now. People are like...
It is. And I would like to say, I'm gatekeeping that for straight men straight men are not a part of that.
Yeah.
Because straight men don't need to be delusional for things to work out.
Because they already are.
They just exist.
Yeah.
Okay.
Time for Don't Blame Them.
Woo! So this is where a listener calls in with their own advice, add on to something that we gave on a previous call. So maybe they have their own personal experience, or they just love the sound of their own voice and they want to hear themselves on the podcast, which can't blame you. We have 2 podcasts.
Right.
Hi, Meghan and Melissa. I'm calling for a Don't Blame Them for Season 9, Episode 8 regarding the Indian boyfriend who didn't want to move in with his girlfriend. I meant to call in after listening to this episode, but hadn't gotten around to it. After reading a review from the poster and seeing you guys also address the review, I felt compelled to say something, and don't worry, I wrote it down like you always ask prior to each episode. I'm a 28-year-old female. I was born in India and raised in the United States since I was a baby. For background, I'm in an interracial marriage with a white man, and we're expecting a baby in a few weeks. Immediately, caller referring to herself as a normal American was so offensive. I'm not sure if the caller will listen to this, but she needs to realize that she's saying that being normal and being white are the same thing. There's no misspeaking about that. She also needs to realize that her tone around her boyfriend being a child of immigrants was overall negative and judgmental throughout the call. While I was raised completely in the U.S., I'm an immigrant myself, and as a child of immigrants, she came off as though the immigrant parents were the issue in her relationship, which is a huge generalization and really unfair. Every family is different. My husband met my parents right away. They never had a problem with him or anyone my brother or I dated being white. Some Indian families only want to meet their kids' parents if you're going to marry that person. While my parents are really progressive and wouldn't mind if we lived together while dating, I personally wasn't comfortable with living with someone before we were engaged. My husband was raised Catholic, and he also felt his parents would prefer if we were engaged first. It had nothing to do with them being immigrants or non-white. If your boyfriend is not comfortable with living together, it's very possible that he just isn't sure about where the relationship is headed. You're both 22, and some people could see that as being too soon. He could be projecting some worries or anxieties onto his parents. He could have his own cultural beliefs or personal preferences. But these are all things caller didn't even bother to consider. Rather, the concept of immigration and his parents were highlighted as the main issue. And the way the caller projected onto his parents was simply not okay. I could not imagine my future son's partner. Speaking of me, the way the caller spoke of her boyfriend's parents, when it seems she really knows nothing about them, their beliefs, or anything to insert herself that way. It's possible your boyfriend can tell there's lack of respect for his family, his culture, etc. And the caller also might not realize that just because you're dating a person of color, it does not exempt you from expressing racism or being racist. Trust me, I've dated a few racists in my day, very briefly. I think she needs to really look at her own life and her own beliefs. Her doubling down in her review bothered me, and I wanted to thank you guys for addressing it and for letting this podcast be a safe space for people like me. A lot of people can be like this caller, and your comments on the situation genuinely made me feel a little safer in the world, knowing there's people like you out there using your voice for immigrants like me and first gens like my kids will be. Also, you can edit this out, but I'm the person who left a positive review for a few episodes ago with username FSM. Damn girl to hear you guys read it, and I stand by every word of it. Have a great day, and thank you.
My nipples are hard. Like
tingly,
like full goosebumps,
titillated,
like
yeah.
Literally titillated. Tits are out for your fuck. Like that was, yeah. That I want to say verbally annihilated, but like poetically, like you just
she spoke her truth.
Yeah, and like we can only, especially me specific, I can only do so much in speaking on these things and having my own personal set of like beliefs and like morals that I hold. And I really fucking hope that that original caller was able to hear that from you specifically, because I think about that call a lot. And thank you for taking the time to call in and say all of that shit, because I can't imagine how listening to that call and like hearing all of that shit, I can't imagine how like, I don't know what the words for that, but like whether that's like triggering, painful, or just like really frustrating to hear someone say all of that shit and then also have the bandwidth to then come back and then say all of this stuff. So thank you for that.
Thank you for writing it down. Thank you for reading. I mean, you still had, even with everything that she said, she still had 20 seconds left. So, you know, you have time.
I think she needs a podcast. Like
I
that
think
was
so
like
too.
Your voice, like just everything about like your delivery, like it was just so good. But you've got that podcast voice. That is it for our episode. Thank you all so much for listening. If you want to go leave us a review on the podcast app, we would always really appreciate that. We're waiting for the anti-porn people to flood on in. So, you know, if you feel differently, we would love to hear from you for that.
Yeah. And I do want to say, a lot of people send us messages like saying things about the show or giving their advice to the caller. Don't blame them exists. Like, call in. You don't need to message us. Call in and share your thoughts.
And also, we really appreciate reading all of your really kind DMs to the podcast. Like, we absolutely love it. But we also, if you want to like leave a review, that's like also very helpful. You might notice our setup is a little bit more low budget than some of those other very large podcasts. And I think people lump podcasters in altogether. And you will see that the girl from Call Her Daddy has a massive home in LA, and I don't. So leaving reviews actually really helps. And it's also really nice for, you know, can help us grow the show and get more sponsors. But it also just helps us to like read them and look at them and like see that makes our day. It does. And motivation is something, as someone with ADHD, is really constantly, desperately what I need. That and serotonin. Dopamine. Love some dopamine. If you're still listening this far, please head on over to Instagram and comment, sing to me, Paolo, or pro Italy. Just comment some encouraging words for that caller to get her ass on a hocation in Italy.
I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it.
An international hocation. So here for it. Anything else?
Nah.
Okay. Yeah. Follow our own individual socials: TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, buy my book, my presets. And yeah. You will hear from us on Monday or Thursday if you listen to our other podcast. But am I wrong?
All right. Thank you.
Okay, goodbye.
Bye.
Don't Blame Me is a production by me. Executive produced by Melissa DeMonts and Diamond Imprint Productions. Edited by Coco Lawrence. Post-production sound by Chris Henry. Production assistance by Melanie D. Watson. Music by Ryan Hunter and Giacomo Picasso.
What's up, everyone? It's Noah Daniels.
Hey, y'all. I'm JJ.
Hey, guys. It's Kat.
And we're your hosts of the Real Hauntings podcast, where we bring on guests who share their first-hand encounter ghost stories and supernatural experiences. Now on to the trailer.
I've been warned to not tell this story
But I think because of the way it ends, it's okay to tell this story, because some people say that with certain entities, to like speak of them or talk about them or in any way like portray them as powerful will attract them to other people. The creepiest thing about it to me is a lot of times it would wait for me to notice it. Like it would just lay its arm out like this, and then I'd be like, where is it? Where is it? And then I'd see it, and then it would just slither back.
For more information on the Real Hauntings, Real Ghost Stories podcast, make sure you check out real.fm to learn more about our podcast and many other amazing podcasts.
Contained herein are the heresies of Radolf Buntwine, erstwhile monk turned traveling medical investigator. Join me as I study the secrets of the divine plagues and uncover the blasphemous truth that ours is not a loving God, and we are not its favored children. The heresies of Radolf Buntwine, wherever podcasts are available.
Hey, are you ready for some real talk and some fantastic laughs? Join me, Megan Rinks.
And me, Melissa DeMonts, for Don't Blame Me, But Am I Wrong?
We're serving up 4 hilarious shows every week designed to entertain and engage and, possibly enrage you.
And Don't Blame Me, we dive deep into listeners' questions, offering advice that's funny, relatable, and real.
Whether you're dealing with relationship drama or you just need a friend's perspective, we've got you.
Then switch gears with But Am I Wrong, which is for listeners who didn't take our advice and want to know if they are the villains in the situation.
Plus, we share our hot takes on current events and present situations that we might even be wrong in our lives. Spoiler alert, we are actually quite literally never wrong.
But wait, there's more. Check out See You Next Tuesday, where we reveal the juicy results from our listener polls from But Am I Wrong?
And don't miss Fisting Friday, where we catch up, chat about pop culture, TV, and movies. It's the perfect way to kick off your weekend.
So if you're looking for a podcast that feels like a chat with your besties, listen to Don't Blame Me, But Am I Wrong on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. New episodes every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday.